Hey travelers, today I want to do a review for you of the Hyatt Vivid Grand Island. This is a brand new property and we're going to cover off everything, and it's going to be an honest review just for you, Jeremy. So be sure to stay till the end, and I'm going to give you my full opinion on this property and whether or not I would stay here again. This property is located about 20 minutes from the airport, and it's about 15 minutes from the downtown, the sort of primary tourist area of the Cancun Peninsula, right at the top of the seven. So it's a great location. You can either walk from the front of the property to the front gate, where you can then hop on one of the local buses. Those cost you 12 pesos to get to wherever you need to go. Or you can actually call an Uber to have them come onto the property to pick you up. This is the first time I've experienced this at any resort. And hey, kudos to Hyatt for allowing this to happen. It certainly makes getting out and around a lot more affordable. Now, this property is located sort of within or behind the Iberostar golf course. So it's down towards Playa del Fins. That's actually where the beach club's located. Because of the location, it's a bit of a walk to get out to the main road. You cannot actually walk through the golf course, which is unfortunate, but that is part of the Iberostar, and they have discounted rates for both Iberostar guests, as well as the Hyatt has negotiated a discount on rates. So if you're staying there and you want to partake in some golf, it's right there. With just 400 rooms on the Vivid side, it's actually quite comfortable. It's not too big, and it's also not too small. Of those rooms, though, there are only 55 that have 2 double beds. So just bear that in mind if you're going with a group of friends, or you're going for a family reunion and you're pairing people up. Just bear in mind that those 55 rooms are going to go quickly, and you do want to make sure that you're booking a double room. Otherwise, you're going to get a king bed in the room. You might find it a bit interesting when you first drive up to the property. It's a really weird shape, and it is largely concrete by design. It's beautiful and well lit up at night, but during the day it does look a little bit stark, a little bit construction-y, but this is a style that they've gone for. It's a very minimalistic design, decor. They've gone for using a lot of natural woods, and somehow it seems to work. I liked it, but again, very, very different from your traditional hacienda style resorts. So I did another video before this property opened, and one of the things that I raved about was the activities that they were going to have. And unfortunately, they still don't have all of them up and running. Now, we are currently a month and a half past the opening. So this is not unusual for a brand new resort. It takes them a little while to get everything up to speed. Look, the first thing that they do is not going to be getting to make sure that the pottery classes are happening or the pastry making classes are happening. The first and foremost thing that they want to do is make sure the service levels are top notch, and that the drinks are coming out properly, the food's coming out properly, all of that. So once the basics are there, then they can move on to the other stuff. That said, I know they were trying to do some different things, and the occupancy is just really low right now. So I suspect that come June, come July, that you'll start to see a lot more of these things being incorporated. And I know they really, really tried to get some of the pottery classes and stuff like that, macrame making classes. They tried to get that happening while I was there, but they just couldn't get the contracts up to speed at that point. Now, that said, the evening entertainment was actually quite interesting. It varied a lot. So, for example, some nights they had movie nights where you could watch, sit outside. They had some popcorn and treats. So that was kind of a fun thing. They also had karaoke some nights. And I mean, look, tequila brings out your best singing voice, right? They had a candy show, so they brought in some entertainers, and they did this full-on dance show, and it was set to different kinds of music. So it was quite a lot of fun, actually. I did enjoy that one. And then one night they did this aqua show, which was sort of a Cirque du Soleil type thing, where they've got the curtains that they're floating on, as well as sort of trapeze type stuff. It was really impressive to watch their skill levels, and it was a great show to watch. There were lots of food options, and I found that I was actually consciously having to manage my food intake because I didn't want to come home 3 sizes larger. But the day starts off with the buffet breakfast. Unfortunately, the Mediterranean restaurant for the a la carte dining for the Vantage Club guests for breakfast, that wasn't up and running, but again, that's an occupancy thing. So come June, July, I suspect that it will be fully operational. So stay tuned for that. And then at lunchtime, you have a bunch of easy options. You can sit at the Mediterranean restaurant. This is for all guests for lunch, for a la carte lunch, and they had some really great dishes there. They also had a ceviche truck, a taco truck, and if you don't try the gringa tacos, you are missing out. These were absolutely delicious. As well as a place called the Hub. And these were all 3 on the lower level, on the main pool area, pool deck. And the Hub had it was a bit grab and go stuff, where they had some salad stuff, some guacamole, you can make your own nachos, and they also had burgers. So it's pretty basic stuff. Normally up on the rooftop, they would have the Japanese restaurant would be open for lunch. Again, unfortunately, due to occupancy, it was not up and running, which I missed the smash burgers, and I was really looking forward to that, but I guess I might just have to go back. And also for lunch, you should say that at the beach club, they've got a restaurant, and honestly, everybody raved about the food over there, and it was really, really good. The tuna poke nachos and the shrimp tacos were absolutely my favorites. And then for dinner, there are 5 a la carte restaurants to choose from. The Mexican, there's an Italian, and all of these had different decor. So you can see here the Italian restaurant, very beautiful inside, as well as the French restaurant, very different seating, different glassware, different lighting. And the Mediterranean is open in the evenings. These were rotating, because of the lower occupancy, so there wasn't all 5 of them open each night, but you could easily go onto the app and see which ones were going to be open that evening. And then, of course, the Japanese was also open. That was on the rooftop, and they have all kinds of different sushi and stuff. That one, I have to say, was actually my least favorite. But everybody else that I spoke to said that was actually their favorite. So, everybody's got their own tastes and preferences. If you want to eat at the Italian restaurant, I would recommend making reservations. Both times we did not. And I was kind of curious to see, if you're just arrived, or you didn't make reservations ahead of time, or there weren't any available, then what would happen? And sure enough, we went the first time, and they said they were full. They did ask if we had a reservation, and reservations are not required, but when it's going to be busy, especially for a long weekend or certain occasions, you might want to go ahead and make those reservations, and then you're in for sure. But as I say, the first time we went, we were told that there wasn't a table available, but she said just come back in 20 minutes. So heck, that's no problem. There's bars everywhere you turn around. So we went and got a drink, sat down, chatted with some people, and it was, I think, before 20 minutes had passed, we went back, checked, and sure enough, no problem, here's your table. And then the second time we went, again, it was a busy night. So we went to get a table, and she said, again, there wasn't anything available, and there weren't any reservations to be had that night either. So even though we couldn't make advance reservations because it was sold out, all she said is come back in 40 minutes. And we went, had a drink, and we're chatting with some people, and it was about 35 minutes past, and we'd sort of lost track of time. And we went back and asked, and sure enough, she sat us down right away. So it's sort of they're really going for this under promise, over deliver right now. So take the hiccups with a grain of salt if you go within the first 3 or 4 months of opening. I think that they're really setting themselves up for success with the different menus and lots of really great food. Oh, and of course there is the Coco Cafe, so that's available 24 hours a day, and it does rotate through different items as the day goes past. So in the morning, they've got lots of different pastries and stuff like that, as well as a smoothie station. And then after lunch, that rotates, and there's some sandwiches, as well as about 9 different flavors of ice cream that you can try. And then in the evening, they switch out some of the pastries for more sweet treats and cakes. And on the last day, I came across this fellow who was giving out little paletas or ice cream bars. Quite tasty. Now, I have read a lot of the reviews, and some people complained before I got there about the fact that you couldn't get a drink before 11 a.m. and you couldn't get a drink after 11 p.m., which I found to be completely incorrect. We were sitting at the buffet one morning, enjoying our breakfast, and Francisco was literally walking around with a tray full of mimosas. He had taken a few orders for them, and I think he just thought, okay, this is ridiculous. I'm not going back and forth all the time. So he got a tray of them, and he was walking around table to table and just saying, would you like a mimosa? Would you like a mimosa? And 90% of the people were saying yes. And this is like 8 in the morning. So not a problem getting a drink before 11. And then in the evening, you know, I did, of course, check all of the information ahead of time, and all of the bars were meant to be closing at 11. And, you know, because this is a new resort, everybody's really chatty and there's a lot of camaraderie, and it's a really interesting environment to be in. And I think that's why a lot of the folks that we spoke to, they all typically would go to new resorts when they opened, A, because it's cheaper, and B, because of that kind of the attitude and the sense of community that everybody has. You know, chatting with people, it was really nice. And we actually met a couple of couples that we ended up chatting with every single night. We just got on with them. It was really great chatting with them. And we found one night that we were sitting in the Vantage Club Lounge, and then they closed that at 11. And so we went out to the lobby bar, and we weren't sure if we would be able to get a drink. No problem at all. And sure enough, you know, when you get chatting and time just flies. Well, I looked at my clock and it was 1:30 in the morning and they were still serving drinks. So yeah, this is not a quiet resort. Well, I should say this is not a party resort, although they did have a rooftop DJ happening, and that was on until I think 1 a.m. But it's more of a, you know, just people sitting and chatting. They did have live music in the lobby as well. And it is enclosed and air conditioned, so it's very comfortable. The trend this year seems to be with the more ornate stemware, you know, crystal style glassware that's really heavy and goblet style, which I really don't like at all, because I found the drinks really heavy and I have small hands. So holding a big glass like that is like, you feel like you gotta have 2 hands to hold it up. But it did look pretty. And when they're making these fancy smoked cocktails with dehydrated fruits, I mean, their ability to create bespoke cocktails and fancy looking drinks was unparalleled. And if you are Vantage Club, be sure to go and see Carlos and ask for a spicy jalapeno margarita. He makes them skinny automatically, so no sugar added. Super tasty. Over at the Beach Club, I noticed that they make a lot of very pretty looking drinks, and it's such a beautiful backdrop that I think, you know, the idea is if they make you a pretty drink, chances are you're going to take a picture of it, put it on social media, which is of course the first thing I did. I don't normally drink pina coladas, but when I saw one coming off the bar top, I was like, I have to have one of those. Absolutely beautiful. And if you ask for something that's Instagrammable, they will make it for you in the prettiest way possible. And they'll make whatever kind of alcohol you want, whether you want it sweet or more savory, not too sweet. They'll make you whatever you want and make it delicious. Now, the rooms were all fairly similar in that they had that same kind of minimalistic decor. There is actually, you know, just plain concrete on the walls that they haven't finished. And like I said, somehow it seems to work. It's either the junior suites or the Vantage suites, all fairly similar. The premium rooms do sort of jut out. It's like an L shape, so it's got a little bit more sitting space. But other than that, they're all pretty much the same. There's a few differences between the regular rooms and Vantage Club. And the most significant difference is that the Vantage Club rooms are on the top 3 floors. So you're going to have the most beautiful views. Whereas if you're on the lower floor, lower view. So there's nothing wrong with those rooms. And funny enough, a friend of mine's been watching all of these videos, and he was like, you said you were coming out with your review video, but I couldn't wait. I gotta book this place. So he called me up last night and he's like, yeah, so what about the difference in the rooms? And what I'm finding, and also in all the comments, and thank you for those, it's really interesting to hear how many people are looking at booking Vantage Club and how many aren't, and sort of what the price difference is. Most people are saying it's usually around the $20 to $30 mark per room per night to upgrade to Vantage Club. So that's not too much to get into those higher view rooms. And there are a few other perks, like eventually the Mediterranean restaurant will be open for breakfast, a la carte dining, as well as Vantage Club members you automatically get stuff like the Vivid box. So it's a private cubby hole where people can deliver room service and not disturb you, as well as upgraded coffee maker, that kind of thing. And you have a soaker tub in the room as opposed to just a bench and then the dual rainfall shower head shower area. So there's not too many differences, but for me, it was the difference in the view. And for $20 more per room per night, no brainer. For my friend, it was a little bit more. I think it's closer to $500 for a week to upgrade, and he's not going to spend that much time in the room. So it's like, oh, well, just get a basic room. You're going to spend all your time up on that rooftop terrace anyways, where you've got that full length pool and just those amazing views. So keep the money, save it for another vacation back. Look, when I first got to this property, driving up to it, it's behind the golf course, it's across the road from the beach. And I just thought, oh, I don't know if have I made a big mistake here? Is this a bad decision? Because the lagoon is, it's okay, but it's a lagoon. And the sunset will be nice. I knew I would be looking forward to that. Well, so off I go in the elevator to go see this rooftop pool, this big long pool. How good can it be? Well, I get off the elevator, come out, turn to my right, and there's the view. And it's like, wow, okay, this is impressive. So then I come out and I can see the chairs there. I can see the swim up bar to the right, long pool extending, and then I see it extend out this way, and there's a terrace area with some chairs. And so I walk out that way past the gym, and there's the ocean. And you can actually see the Cancun sign from there. The view's just jaw-dropping. So all of a sudden it was like, okay, yeah, this works for me. And so yeah, it's a gorgeous pool up there. And what's really cool is you can see Dreams. This is the building as you're facing the lagoon, that's the building to the right. So that's still being completed, and it's probably not going to be done for another 6 months or more. But what's interesting is they filled the pools. So visually, it actually looks quite nice. So on the rooftop, you've got the infinity pool and swim up bar, and then there's tons and tons of loungers. And then down below, there are 2 main pool areas, and one of them has a swim up pool, the swim up bar, and there are just loungers everywhere. So it's really not a problem to get a seat really at any time of day. So plenty of space. The pools are heated, and they were deep enough that you could cool off, and with the swim up bar right there, I mean, the drinks were flowing. And then of course over at the beach club, there are 2 small pools available for people to use. Once you're at the beach club, there are several chairs and stuff like that, and of course you can swim in the ocean, but sometimes there's a red flag if it's particularly windy. So in those scenarios, you can definitely go in and have a dip in the pool. They're not very large. So this is more of a place where you're going to be enjoying the beach and the ocean. Whereas on the resort side, it totally compensates for this because the pools are massive. So the beach club is complimentary, and all you have to do is you have to get a wristband. It doesn't cost anything, but they use this to track who's going over there and make sure that you are part of the Hyatt Vivid resort. I suspect it'll become a more electronic at some point. You can take the shuttle. I will say that the first shuttles of the day are usually always fully booked, but I also know that you can just usually hop on. A lot of times people will sleep in, they change their mind, whatever, life gets in the way, or vacation, I should say, gets in the way of life. So you can usually hop on the shuttle, that's not a problem. But alternatively, you can take an Uber over there or a taxi, or you can walk. You can walk, it's about 40 minutes, otherwise the ride is about 5 minutes. But it's kind of a tough walk, especially in that Cancun heat. Now the shuttle does go about every half an hour, and it's a little bit more limited right now, again with the lower occupancy, but ultimately it'll be going every half an hour, and I suspect that they may have more than one shuttle going back and forth, because right now it only takes a maximum of 20 people. Now there's tons and tons of loungers at the beach club, so again, finding a place to sit is not a problem, and there's 2 bar areas as well as the restaurant. And the views are absolutely spectacular. I've done a whole video on that, so check that out if you are interested in more detail. But they basically terraced it. So each tier has different loungers. And again, you've got that beautiful view of the ocean right in front of you. And of course, there is drink service right to your lounger, even at the beach club. The easy answer to that is, yeah, I've already looked up prices. My friend is going at the beginning of June, and so many other people have commented and told me when they're going, and I'm like, oh, I want to go back. But, you can only afford so many vacations each year, right? What I would recommend is if you go before July or August, just know that there might be a few hiccups along the way, but you're getting that incredible pricing to go along with that to encourage you to go. So there's an offset there. If you go later on this year, I think they'll have all the bumps worked out, and they'll have all the activities happening, all the restaurants will be open, and I think it's going to be a really great experience. And I am curious to see that, and I've already kind of worked out how to get back there maybe early next year, so fingers crossed on that one. The service overall was great. I didn't fancy the Japanese restaurant, although there was nothing wrong with the food, just wasn't really my cup of tea. I preferred some of the others. Whereas a lot of other people that I spoke to said that was actually their favorite. So, like I say, each person's got different tastes and preferences. What was really cool, and I didn't mention this earlier, is that with the restaurants, each one has sort of their own amuse-bouche that you get as a starter. And I'm not sure if I should share these or not, but for example, at the Mexican restaurant, they started out with a little bowl of queso fundido. So this is basically melted cheese with a bit of chorizo on top. You have that with tortillas. It's absolutely delightful. So different things like that really helped enhance the experience. But like I said, overall, food was great. The drinks were great and very creative. And the service just very impressive, very impressive. So a couple of hiccups along the way, but overall, yeah, I would highly recommend this resort. If you're looking for a party place, this is not it. If you're looking for a place that's completely quiet and romantic and very low key, this is also not it. But it is trying to be a bit of all of the, Secrets, Dreams, Breathless, Hyatt Ziva, Hyatt Zilara. It's trying to capture their best features and pull it in to create this new Vivid product. So hopefully you found this somewhat helpful. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. And we'll see you on the next one.